What's up everybody? I'm Jen and welcome back to Valley Buzzsaw. In today's video, I am pouring some concrete to make jewelry. Yup, you heard that right. We're making jewelry out of construction materials. If you've been here for a while, then you know I love working with concrete. So when I came across these tiny little silicone molds a while ago, you know my first thought was, ooh, I can pour in that. So today's the day that we test out if cement will make durable, functional, and attractive jewelry pieces. But before we get started, you can let me know if you like videos like this by giving this one a thumbs up, and you will find that right down below. Then right next to it is the big old red subscribe button. Click on it, click the bell, click all in the bell menu, and you should be notified every time we try to upload a brand new video, which I like to do on Friday mornings at 6 a.m. Arizona time. Okay, no more waiting. I'm just as curious as you are to see how this is gonna turn out. And I'm really looking forward to doing this DIY project to see if I can use unconventional construction materials, like concrete, to make some jewelry pieces. Before I can mix up any concrete, I first need to determine the total volume of these silicone molds. There are probably better ways to do this, but I'm math challenged, so this was the best way I knew how to do it. I used water for measuring. I'm using this fast set all-crete high-performance cement by Quikrete for this pour. I've used this on numerous other crafty DIY projects in the past, and it hasn't let me down yet. I start by using cold water in my mixing container. Again, I'm not the best at math, but I did figure out a good ratio of water to concrete so this could pour in that Goldilocks zone. Not too thick, not too watery. Like the label says, I only have about 20 minutes with this stuff, but here in Arizona we are so dry, I tend to cut that time in half. In fact, I mixed a little extra this time to pour another doorstop, but it ended up starting to set in the cup before I even finished pouring the jewelry. So I usually have my stuff together when pouring concrete, but this time I went a bit off the rails. The first three went okay, but I completely forgot to coat the molds of the last two before I went to mix. I wanted to make sure the pieces were coated because I didn't want that little nub that makes the hole to get stuck or to tear off. So, mid-pour, I quickly coated the last two. That's one of the reasons why the leftover concrete ended up setting in the cup. Also, why my first attempt at this didn't go so well, but we'll get to that in a minute. I used a toothpick to try to move the concrete into the corners and around the little nub, as well as to screed the top of the molds. If the concrete wasn't so thick, my trick would have definitely worked. Unfortunately, setting concrete waits for no woman. I raced against the clock, but it just wasn't pretty. Instead of stressing, I cleaned everything up and set the pieces aside for a couple of hours. Going into the demold, I sadly knew it wouldn't go as planned. It didn't bother me because at least I'd get a feel for the project. And luckily, these were so small that they set in only a couple hours, so I could re-pour on the same day. While you watch me demold round one, I want to point out the tools on the left-hand side of your screen. My original plan was to decorate using the same bell wire that I'd used to create the candy canes on my concrete gingerbread house. This one. I'll link to that video down below if you want to check it out. I plan to strip the wire sheathing and use the copper underneath for the decorative elements. But in testing the two together, I discovered fatal flaws in my concrete that I thought I could fix by skipping the wire. I was oh so wrong, but again, we'll get to all of that in a minute. So after removing the not so super first attempt, I went back for round two. I started by cleaning the molds with dish soap and warm water to remove all the petroleum jelly and residual concrete. Then I got to coating again. Only this time I went a lot more methodical so big globs of the stuff didn't end up in corners or around the little nub. I also made sure everything was coated before I started mixing this time. Speaking of which, I went with a little more water and a little less concrete. The pour went fine, and I left everything to set up again, coming back after a couple of hours to demold round 2. The second attempt looked a lot better. Less bubbles and less missing concrete in harder to reach places, like in those corners and around the nub. I was pretty satisfied with how everything looked, so I wiped off any residual petroleum jelly and left them to fully set overnight. The next morning, I got to painting. Using my CraftSmart acrylic craft paints gave the pieces that matte finish I was going for. But the colors on their own looked kind of boring, so I decided to jazz them up a bit with some coordinating colored polka dots. After the paint dried, all that was left to do was to attach the jewelry hardware. I ran out of larger silver jump rings and ended up using gold for the pair of black earrings. Though I don't usually go for gold jewelry, I actually really like how that pair turned out. No! So there you have it. I semi-successfully made 5 pairs of really cool earrings using concrete. Honestly, I was really impressed with the quality of these silicone molds. Not to mention that 10 of them came in the pack, so I was actually able to make all 5 of these very fun, super cute shapes. But now I want to know, have you ever used concrete or plaster or anything like this that solidifies to make your own jewelry items? You can let me know down in the comments below, or feel free to stop on over to our Instagram page. If you post something with your jewelry pieces in it, make sure you tag Valley Buzzsaw, because I would love to see how your stuff turned out. That's all I got for you today. So if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up down below, and then right next to the thumbs up, you'll find the big old red subscribe button. If you click that and then click all when the bell menu appears, you should be notified every Friday morning when I try to upload a brand new video at 6 a.m. Arizona time. Just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this fun little experiment of mine, and we will catch you guys in the next one. I won't be talking because you can't understand me with this face mask on anyway. Oh my God. Really there, Jen? Where is it? It's somewhere in there. Yes, I'm reading cue cards. This is how all the YouTubers do it a year in so that they're not rambly. I'm sure this is already at like 7 minutes because I'm rambly. Hence the cue cards. Hence the editing. That'll do, I guess. That'll do. Yep, 7 minutes. I wasn't wrong. I wonder how many people have ever used a toothpick to screed their concrete. Definitely a first for me. Makes me feel like I'm building a tiny house for a tiny creature or something, though. That's a heck of a slab foundation for an ant. Welcome to your new 2-bedroom house, little dude. No, I don't have ants. Ooh. No. Ah. Also, please consider kicking the subscribe button. Just kick it. Just kick it. Okay, no, stop. Oh my God. I've left Matt outside, and I'm so sorry, honey, but this week has been crazy warm, so thanks for going out and hanging out outside while I do all my stuff.